yourselves by pressing *6.
Okay, so we got the recording going. This is a Thursday night training call. Tonight's focus is really talking a little bit about the People Code, and as it relates to talking about the compensation plan. So the People Code, compensation plan, sort of a combined topic tonight for different reasons that should be of great use to you. But before we even get started, let me see if I can get a couple of general questions people may have. And so I'll unmute the lines for a second. If you have a question, go ahead, just say your name, where you're from. I'll write that down, and hopefully I'll cover that for you over the next 20, 25 minutes. So just a sec. We'll do one here.
All callers are muted. All callers are unmuted.
All right, go ahead. Say your name. Okay, what's the question? Rick, Columbus, Ohio.
Are we getting some products?
Oh, okay. When are we getting the products? We're actually going to sort of start the whole process coming up here in September. Next Monday, on the Monday night conference call, or actually the Monday newsletter, we're going to have the entire rollout schedule for all the things we're doing in August, September, and October, because we're building towards a really big national rollout of simulcast on all sorts of different media. So we have all sorts of celebrities, and there's a lot going on to our launch to take those orders, to accept our co-op members, and to finish our production. So, but we're finalizing it. We'll give you the schedule on Monday, but it's sometime at the early part of September and the latter part of September. So some parts are at the beginning, some parts are coming up here in just a couple weeks. What are the questions you might have? Go ahead.
Question is, if I don't have a computer, can I do this business?
Well, yeah, there's always ways to do things if you don't have a computer, because the library has a computer. It's free. So libraries always have computers. Everyone in America has access to libraries. So, the fact is, yes, if it's something that anybody can walk into the library, they can use it for free, they can go log on, and they can do it, or they can do it with their friends that have a computer. In today's world, virtually everybody knows someone with a computer. So that's possible. In the near future, once we do go live, we have live customer service, it would be possible for someone to call in an order. But otherwise, we need when people sign up, we use the email as a form of communication, et cetera, and verification. And obviously, if somebody doesn't have some of those things, they're not going to get a lot of the confirmation to be able to track their organization quite the same way. But we'll still, we'll still take orders. We'll still receive orders. So if you have customers that prefer to call in, great. Or if you have people that don't have computers, then you can take the orders for them. So that would be the way to handle that.
Could they be a distributor and go out and write business, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I get it's an extra step, but anything's possible. I guess it's just a question of why somebody wouldn't have a computer, and I know that in the Amish community sometimes that's possible.
Well, a lot of places
for $50.
Well, this person here has got a computer, but in some areas you can't get good service and emails.
But in those same areas, can they not use a cell phone?
Well, yeah, they can use a cell phone, but you can't get an email to them. I've tried it.
Okay, well, we'll take that up as a separate.
But anyway, let's take the next question. That's a great answer, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll help you, though. I promise. Any other questions related to anything else? And then I'll kind of get into this conversation.
Judy from Washington.
Yes, Judy.
You keep talking about the newsletter. Can you explain where that is and when we find it?
Yeah, if you gave us your email address and got an autoresponder of some sort or a text message, we should have it. If you're not getting the email as your newsletter, which we send out on Mondays and Thursdays, then either it's spelled wrong in our system, or you might need to go into your junk or trash somehow and just agree to whitelist. You just sort of say you'll get these. Most people do get the newsletter, but some people they don't. It's just each service provider is a little different. Check your junk or trash and see if you need to opt in, or go to your back office and just ensure the fact that your email is correct in the system.
Okay.
Or call customer. You can email support at Better Plan Paper tomorrow as well, and they can look it up for you also.
All right, this is Sharon from Detroit, Michigan. How long has this business been around?
The company actually hasn't taken an order yet. We've actually, for the last 60 days or so, have been putting people in the system, educating people across the country, and working with our suppliers. So we'll be actually, taking those orders and doing things in September. So arguably, you're in the very first day. The first day we take orders, you have a chance to join with us at the very same time.
Question. Marvin from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, Marvin.
Hi. So I have been receiving the text messages. I have not seen yet a newsletter. So how do I know that I'm actually on board?
Well, if you're getting a text message, it's highly likely that just went through the same process. So you should have received, when you enrolled, sort of a confirmation letter that says, hey, welcome, and here's your information. So in that experience, if you're unaware of that, or you at least know your code, you could go back into betterplanetpaper.com, go up to login, use what you think is your email address, and try to log in. And that should get you into your back office. And you can check into the My Account session up there just to make sure you've approved to receive emails. If for some reason you're not getting them, again, it could be in the junk or mail. It does happen sometimes, or trash. And lastly, you can email support at betterplanetpaper.com tomorrow or tonight, and they'll address it tomorrow and make sure that gets out to you. But we do send those on Mondays and Thursdays. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. All right, if you're out there, feel free to hit *6 on your phone and mute any noise in your surrounding area. That helps everybody else, actually. Any other last questions before I jump into this?
Rob, Judy from Washington again.
Yeah, go ahead, Judy.
Can you explain and tell us where the holding tank is found and how that works?
Yeah, I'll address that through the presentation. And there's actually in the video in the back office, if you watch the videos, there's a training about the back office. And I'd say that's one of the best things probably to watch Liz go through the back office in there. But when you go to actually look at your two-team tree, if you were to click on any of the different logos, the names come up. But I'll point it out for you. And again, we can walk you through it. You can do support at betterplanetpaper.com. Liz or Bryson could actually just do screen share or point it out to you directly in your back office if you wish.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's up on it's up on the registration page. Yes, sir.
This is Matthew from Long Beach, California.
Yes, sir.
What are the products that we're going to be that are going to be available, and how many is it going to come in? Like a 12-pack of item and 6 of another? How does it work? Thank you.
Yeah, so if you go into the what we're offering page on the website, it kind of gets into we're going to be shipping toilet tissues and paper towels. So initially they'll go out in groups of 24 or 20. So we're looking at the packaging on both right now, just getting the final decision on those. So it'd be 20 or 24 when it comes to toilet tissue, and then the paper towels will be 12. And that's what initially we're starting with for about the first 45 or 60 days. We'll be moving into a number of different categories. So just to understand, our goal is to become the most trusted environmental paper company. So we're already researching a lot of stuff regarding tissue paper and stuff for the holidays and napkins. There's just a lot of other paper products coming soon. But since most people consume paper towels and toilet tissue, that's the one we're going to start with. It's simplest, and that's about the size. It'll be shipped out of Salt Lake and out of Chicago initially, and then eventually Atlanta. And we'll be able to even get into Canada from those areas as well. But I would say over the next 2 weeks of newsletters, we'll continue to drip out more and more information. Most of the information really is on the website. People, kick the tires and start bouncing around a little bit. But the final pricing, all of that information will be all secured up by the end of the month, so that everybody has a real clear idea. When it comes to subscriptions, a lot of people ask, well, how much does someone have to buy? They only really need to buy as much as they want to use. But
somebody's cutting out and driving and is causing bad things on the conference call.
All callers are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
I'm going to wrap that up right there. So, and then I'll get into the compensation training. But when it comes to the actual subscription themselves, people are going to go on about a $30 subscription or $60 subscription. They can do it at the frequency they wish, so people can get it every 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 7 weeks, if they wish. It's really up to the individual on how, how large is your family, how often you're going to consume something, how many samples are you going to give away. That will probably dictate exactly how people get started. But that's a good way to segue into our compensation plan discussion tonight, which is when it comes to those first orders, what happens with those first orders and how you get paid. And so, for a lot of people, like, how much is it? Well, again, they'll be pricing around $35, around $60, around $120, like what we simply refer to sort of as a personal pack, a family pack, and what might be a business pack if you had a small business to get started. And another question often people have is, what are the monthly qualifiers and how does that work exactly? Well, the way our compensation plan works, again, we're an environmental, co-op. So this is really a co-op that has sort of a multi-tiered compensation plan. And in this particular plan here, unlike, let's say, direct sales companies that force people to buy something every month, you don't have to buy something every month, but there needs to be a sales transaction every 2 calendar months. So if you started, let's say, today is the 17th of August, and you placed an order, as long as there was an order placed this month, you get paid really this month and next month. So it's because we don't want people to be forced to have to spend, $30 or $40 or $50 a month for toilet paper or paper towel, something they may not go through that much. So you can do it every 3 weeks, every 5 weeks, every 7 weeks. Most people will probably go on a 5-week subscription and then have that show up. As we begin to grow, we'll offer smaller and smaller packages. So people might get 8 if they wanted to, et cetera, and maybe they would get it more often. But that's how the actual subscription program works. And so as long as it's every 2 calendar months, you're going to get paid. And when that happens, every time there's a new order, I like to look at the compensation plan a couple ways. One is like what we call new order and next order. So when it's a new order, it gets paid in the binary or the 2-team tree. And so when you go into the back office, you see the 2-team tree concept. If you're from direct sales, binary, a left side, right side. So when a new order is placed, it goes into the 2-team tree and gets paid in the binary. And we pay that check every 2 weeks. So every time there's a new order, we count up all the orders up until sort of midnight on the 14th, right before the 15th. And we calculate all those orders for the first 14 days of the month, and then we pay that the following week. So it's a 2-week pay period, and then it starts on the 15th and goes to the end of the month, and that's a 2-week pay period, and so on. And so any new orders that occur during those 2-week pay periods get calculated up in the binary or 2-team structure. So that's how the first amount of money gets paid. And when somebody goes on subscription and they want to get their product the following month, that goes into the back end. And in the back end, they get paid on the generational pay, and they benefit from various co-op dividends and bonuses, which I'll explain in a second. So, again, first order, next order, or new order, next order, that's the best way to look at it. So once those first orders get, positioned in, you have, 2 sides, a left side, a right side. We have a 1/3, 2/3 binary. We'll have a video on all of this stuff in the next week or so. But for now, just understand that when you're enrolling customers, you sort of assume that if you're interested in this as a business or an income, you're probably going to get dozens and dozens of customers, not just 2. So as you begin to enroll people, you want to put, 3 or 4 down on your left side, 3 or 4 down on your right side, and duplicate. And just keep it that simple. It'll be very, very easy for people to get 5 customers, 10, 15, 20, and you just want to balance that out. So as a binary, it's a 1/3, 2/3 binary. We pay 10% on that, and we also have a holding tank, as the lady just mentioned. And most people don't know we have a holding tank because we're not going to announce it really until Monday's newsletter. And what the holding tank does for people is it allows people to sign up 3 or 4 people today and then place them in the order that they want. So right now, when you sign people up, they automatically defer to the left site management. One of the account settings says holding tank. And so if you adjusted the holding tank, what that does is when the next person that signs up, it sort of just gets held in limbo until you place them. And some people that have a lot of experience that enroll lots of people like to sign up 4, 5, or 6 people first and then place them where they choose. So we'll discuss that next week. I'm not going to use the call tonight to do that. There'll be a video on it, but there's a holding tank, and you can find that in the My Account section in the back office. But what happens with the holding tank on those new orders is at basically 11:58 on the 14th, very, very late at night on the 14th, this computer looks at all of the orders in the holding tank. If you have not placed people by the end of the pay period, then the computer is going to automatically place all those people wherever the default is. So if you have a default on the lesser side or strong side, if you forgot, you went on vacation, or you kind of know, but you just don't want to organize them yourself, the computer will assemble all of those sales at the end of the pay period because it has to pay on that compensation shortly. So just know you'll learn more about that in a video on Monday in a newsletter, but since people were asking a lot about the compensation plan, I just wanted to put that in here. So in new orders, it goes in the binary side. You must have at least 3 sales to order benefit from that. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3 sales, and again, fortunately for everybody, it's a very small sale. It's not difficult for people to make a $35 or $60 or $100 sale on paper products because, as you hear a lot, everybody wipes. So there are people in the company already that have signed up 50 personals, 100, 200 personal people, even in the last couple of weeks or months. So even though we're brand new, people have found it's very, very simple to enroll people in this business. So it'll be a whole lot easier, obviously, when we're taking orders and shipping orders, etc. But in the meantime, just know it's a very, very simple discussion to have with people. So that's the first part, which is the new order on the binary. The next order really benefits you in a couple of different ways. And there's a couple of different bonuses there. One is basically the Tree Savers dividend, and the other is sort of a generational percentage pay based on the 3 generations. And so I'll talk about each one of those. And so the Tree Savers dividend is really my favorite part of the whole plan, which I talk about 1, 2, 3, 400. And so 1, 2, 3, 400 is you get in and place an order 1. Then you get, build somebody on 2 sides. So you build 2 co-op members, 2 team members who get 3 customers, 3 more levels. So 9, 27, 81. So basically, when you build a customer group of, 3 customers, 9, 27, 81, you're going to benefit from a number of what we call Tree Saver dividends. So as soon as you go from 3, you get your product free. But when you have 9 people that are customers, you're going to get a $50 bonus each and every month as long as you're maintaining those 9 customers on a second level. If you have 27 customers, you're going to get another $100 bonus. And if you have 81, you're going to get another $150 bonus. So really, for having about 120 customers, you're going to guarantee yourself $300 in what we call the Tree Saver dividends just because you keep those customers. So that's really attractive just to get started. And very few people fully understand the value of that yet, but they will when people realize that they can make an extra $300, $400, $500 a month. But that's just called the Tree Saver dividend. On top of that, we pay 3 generations of your enroller tree. So if you bring in 5 people that are co-op members, they're customers, they're sharing out the marketplace, well, you're going to now get paid 3 generations of 5. So you're going to get paid 3 generations of other people that have enrolled 5 people, which could be more than 3 levels. So it's not 3 levels, it's 3 generation, and a generation is defined as the rank title. So our particular rank titles, if you look through the website, it explains that you need to have at least 5 customers, 15 customers, 25, 50, or 100. So as you hit each one of those ranks, you're going to get paid 3 generations of percentages based on those ranks. So in addition to the Tree Saver dividend, which is already really lucrative, you're going to get 5% on 3 generations of other people that do 5. And then when you get to 15 customers, you're actually going to get 3 generations. You're going to get an additional 4% on 3 generations of 15. So what this does is it allows you to get paid much deeper in the compensation plan based on your customer base. And then as people get up and get 25 or 50, they can get another 3%, another 2%, and so on. So if you've been in a unilevel type plan, it's similar to that, except it just pays much deeper. If you've been in a generational type plan, you'll all appreciate the video that would come out next week, sort of demonstrating the depth of difference between levels and generations. But the good news for you is just go out and go get 15 customers, and you'll be shocked because if you have 15 people personally in that example, probably only 2 or 3 of them will go get 15. All the rest of them probably get less than 15, which means you might get paid, 20 levels deep on, somebody who gets 5, who gets 3, who gets 2, who gets 1, who gets 4, who gets 5. So all that compresses up to you. It's a very, very exciting bonus that many of you will really appreciate the more that you build. The other reason you'll appreciate it is because even if your binary doesn't take off, you don't have 2 legs that are building that you're getting paid on every 2 weeks. You have just one big leg that you were responsible for, that you brought some people in that took off. You're still going to earn a nice, consistent income on a monthly basis based on your customers. So, it's really, really an attractive bonus. You can look at the percentages again in the compensation section on the website, and we'll also have a video next week. And the only reason, again, I'm doing this particular call tonight is there's been a lot of questions about it, and I figured there's no real reason to go until next week to explain some of the finer points of what it is we're doing. But more importantly, I wanted to talk about the money in relation to different types of people. So again, the key bonus, the new order goes into the binary, the 2-tree tree. The next order gets paid a couple of ways, a Tree Saver dividend, and also through the generational pay. And there's other additional bonuses we'll roll out at the end of September that are surprises at this point. So, the great thing about when you launch a new company is you don't have to disclose everything you're going to do at the very beginning. Amazon and eBay, any other major company, they're not disclosing all their strategies to the world until they're ready. And there's a reason for that. They want to be able to execute properly, and so do we. And so that we know that we're going to bring on tens of thousands of customers very, very quickly. So there's a lot of systems in a company like this that are responsible for communicating, whether it's the mobile platform, the email platforms, the text platforms, the invoicing platforms, the pay system platforms. It's a pretty complicated process, honestly. Taking orders is the simple part, but making sure everything's connected and communicating properly, that's more complicated. And so you just have to trust us that we know this is going to scale at a very, very high speed, and we want to make sure you're able to measure things and that all the transactions have integrity, including counting the trees, right? So you're placing orders. We want to know how many trees are getting planted. We want to make sure that we have these really cool charts and things to show you how you're benefiting from helping to save those trees as well. So just know, the patience, we appreciate you. We're a new company getting up and running, and we need your help. Just, hey, we have something very special. Just keep sharing with people. They can enroll for free now, position themselves, and they'll continue to get communication along those lines. What really happens when people talk about compensation plan is they tend to look at things a variety of different ways. I'm going to segue into the people code. In our back office, there's a link. When you get registered, you go to the back office, there's a link called people code. And we had it in the newsletter today as well. We'll talk about it every single week. But the people code is a way in which you process information. How you communicate, how you learn. And everybody learns or looks for information differently. So some people, when they're asking about the compensation plan, are looking for you to answer it a certain way, and other people are looking for you to answer it a different way. You'd think they all want you to answer it the same way, but that's not really the case because we all learn differently. And so it's really valuable for you to go find out what color you communicate in. And so this system, the communication system, you can take the assessment for free. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. It's done by a very good friend of mine, Taylor Hartman, fantastic individuals, trained a million people around the world on how to communicate more efficiently, best-selling author. And really what the idea is there's 4 different sort of learning styles in this example. And depending on the person you're talking to, they learn information differently. So when you ask me a question, if I know your learning style, and it's not difficult to tell when you're talking to somebody which one they are, but if I know approximately what your learning style is, then I can answer you in a way you're going to hear it more clearly. Here's what I mean by that. I happen to be a yellow, so there's 4 colors. It's red, yellow, blue, and white. And so in those colors, white is very quiet, introverted, and analyzes a lot. Whites typically tend to be architects and engineers and accountants, and they just like to think a lot. They don't need to speak a lot. They process a lot of information. They're thinking and they're analyzing when you talk. And then blue personalities are very emotional, so they wear all their feelings on their sleeve. They like to express how they feel about things. They're very empathetic. They're definitely the tree huggers of the world. People like to save things. And so when you're talking to a blue, a lot of what they're going to see in this company is how great it is for the environment, how it helps other people, how it's so convenient, it helps their friends. So there's an emotional side to that. Yellow is sort of a life of the party, a communicator. So they're a connector. They're constantly connecting lots of people. They like to tell stories. They like to talk a lot. But again, I'm a yellow, so I like to demonstrate things. I like to visually see things. So that's the way I particularly learn, and how I learn and how I communicate. And last is red. They're pretty much bottom line to the point people. They like efficiency. Like if they ask you a question, they don't want a long story from someone like me. They want a short answer that's succinct, that they understand. So what's interesting about that is if any of those 4 different types of people were to ask me a question, if I understand them better in the first place, like I know I'm a yellow, so I might have story answers, I need to quickly assess whether the person I'm talking to would tolerate that. So if they're a yellow, they kind of like it. It's a lot of fun. If they're a blue, I can tell stories that relate to, their emotions and feelings and how this money would really have an impact on their family, and that would be great. If they're a white, they might want to know the numbers. I crunch the numbers. I don't understand how the numbers. How is it possible that everybody can get it for free? It's not possible, people. You couldn't give away 100,000 free products. The answer is yes, you could. And we just have to explain that to them. Here's, if 100,000 people are getting it free, that means we're probably going to get about 500,000 orders, actually, and here's how the economics work. Our accountants did that when I sat down originally. They're like, wow, you're going to go out of business giving away all this product. And I'm like, no, we won't, and here's why. And then eventually, oh, wow, that's genius. That's really great. That does really work. So whites need proof, and reds just want to know why. Like, give me the short answer. How much do you earn when you do this? Well, here's the answer. Like, great. And then that's all they need. Let's go make that. So why do I say all that? I say all that because sometimes the answers we might provide don't satisfy the person you're talking to. And we're not really in the convincing business. We're really in the sorting business. And so if they want to hear it the way they want to hear it, sometimes they're ready to go now. Sometimes they need to wait. When you're a startup company and you don't have all the precise answers, if somebody wants the precise pricing, we have a pretty good range right now. We have a good idea. We're finalizing that. We're finalizing because we're looking at weights and different shipping directions and packaging and things. So it doesn't really matter. We're giving, approximately here's what it is. And when it comes to the compensation, we have all sorts of stats on the website. But people want to go, well, what will happen if you put 50 people in or 100 or this? Well, we haven't done all those projections for everyone yet on the site. We will, but the fact is we have other things to worry about, and because the law doesn't like income projections. So our attorneys, if you follow anything that goes on in the direct sales industry, then you realize there's all sorts of rulings in the last couple of years related to pyramid statutes, related to customer programs, the FTC issues. And so it's really important that a company like ours doesn't go out there and promote income. We're trying to let people know we want to become the most trusted environmental paper brand. We're a big co-op. We just happen to share the distribution and dividends differently than, let's say, other co-ops. And so we really want to lean more into that, and the fact that you can go get 3 customers and get your free and duplicate. And if we stick to the 1, 2, 3, 400, it's simple enough for people to understand, and it doesn't get outrageous. And so oftentimes people that have made a lot of money in our industry before want us to show how to make $5,000 a week or $5,000 a month or whatever. And we're not going to do that as a company, as a corporation. We're not going to be doing that because there's all sorts of regulations telling us not to do that. But we'll provide some insight and some videos that people can extrapolate on their own. So we'll get you started in the process. You'll be able to finish the math yourself. So just know that while we do know what people want, we're also responsible to protect what it is that we're trying to do, and I'm responsible for that. So I want to make sure that we provide accurate information. So the color code has an impact. The person that's coming at you might have a strong personality. There might be a strong red personality. That's great. They like to, get good answers that are succinct with a strong, personality. And so other people, they're a little bit more patient. So we need everyone to be patient over the next couple of weeks and let us keep rolling out new information, in the newsletters and in the back office. Also, if you follow us on Facebook, there's a lot of insight there too. So you'll see on Facebook, we have all sorts of, updates on things. We'll tell you about different trainings that are going on. If there's new news, we just recently allowed people to sign up in Canada, which is great news. There's a lot of people asking us about that. And we looked into all that. It's not going to be complicated, so we're starting that process now. And even though we'll ship into Canada, probably a month later than the United States, the point is it's possible, and we'll just go through that process for people. So, again, we just want you to be patient, kind of grow with us. Amazon and eBay and any other major corporation you've ever seen, they were small one time. They had their first month, they had their setup phase. They had to get all their customer service, all of these things in place. And so you're a part of that experience. The good news is for you get in first, and we'll go bring on hundreds of thousands of customers the first year, and certainly we believe a couple million customers the next couple years, and we believe we'll become the most trusted, environmental paper company. We believe we'll be America's paper company. We believe we'll be the paper for the people, without question, because we're giving back. We're taking the money most companies would normally spend on Madison Avenue or paying you. A recent example, we use it a lot, but it's a relevant one, and that has to do with the Dollar Shave Club. And the reason this is relevant, is certainly from a business perspective, is because here's a company that had an idea that went out there that people thought was funny or a little odd at the time. And they said, hey, the price of razors is too high. We're just going to show you how to get it delivered to your house, and we're going to do it cheaper. That was the good value proposition. They really didn't know how they were going to totally do that, but they thought they'd get started on it, and it took off. And then they had to figure out all these systems. And it was a pain. It was chaotic. In fact, people didn't even like the razors. They got all sorts of bad reviews at the beginning, bad shipping. There was just tons and tons of problems. None of them had any background in systems. They just liked marketing, and they did a good job with a great video, but they didn't know systems. We're rolling out with very sophisticated systems, that are created by, these multi-million-dollar companies that, understand our industry. So we know, because we already know we're going to scale really quickly, but they didn't know that. But what's interesting is they grew so fast, they needed venture capital, and they realized they needed to advertise because they didn't have you. See, they did a little word of mouth. They gave people $5 if they told their friends. They got $5 off, for the razors. And that's kind of what they still do for a lot of, people as well. So if you refer 3 people, you get $15 off. But, at the end of the day, you refer 3 people and you're going to save, $400, $500 a year in paper products. It's a much better deal than getting $15 off. And so, but also they raised $1 million to do advertising, and they grew again. And they raised $12 million and spent, 8 or 9 million of it in advertising. Then they raised $150 million, spent $100 million in advertising. So over about a 3-year period, they had to go out to the marketplace and raise, over $150 million, $180 million to scale their company, of which $100 million or so went to advertising and marketing, and they never made a profit before they sold. And what was interesting is because they were all over ESPN and the radio and television trying to get your attention. We don't need that. We pay you. So instead of us having to go pay $100 million, we have the ability to give that back to all of our dividends to all of our members by helping build our brand. And so as those sales come in, we just pay you back. It's going to be much faster. And so we've created a lot of ways for all of you to sort of split up that pie. And just as customers, as co-op members, twice a year, we'll issue dividends on your own personal customers. So think of it as your own personal customers, you get an extra 3% on. So all the customers you bring in, we total up all those sales, and we give you dividends towards other things as well. So again, paper for the people. We think this is a much better pay plan than people get. People ask the questions like, well, how much can you earn? Well, what's the pay plan like? And I said, well, it's a lot better than Charmin's. It's a lot better than Northern's. Our pay plan's a lot better than Walmart. Our pay plan's a lot better than Amazon. So, when people say, hey, well, I can already get toilet paper delivered home because I have Amazon Prime, say, yeah, you paid $100 in advance for that, but they don't have a pay plan. They just have a shipping savings plan. And so, they're not going to pay you to tell other people to buy that product, and we're willing to share that with you. So it's a significant difference. And, again, if you were in a farm-raised co-op, you might all benefit and share in the dividends and the benefits from the crops. And if you're in electricity, co-op, you benefit from lower pricing because everybody sort of joins together to reduce the pricing. But we're doing the same thing. We're giving people an opportunity to reduce the pricing and benefit from the growth of the company. So we think Better Planet Paper is the best model. Hopefully tonight's conference call as it relates to finer points of the plan was helpful just to give an outline. But just know that we're working on a video now that we'll post in the back office and push out in newsletters next week as well as we get closer and closer to our launch. Our launch is going to be extraordinary. So we spent some time, I was with Kevin Harrington with Shark Tank the other day, and we were strategizing with him and some other celebrities and their agents, talking about what we're going to do as we roll this company out across the country, over this next couple of months. There's just a lot of things that we have in store that are a lot of fun that you'll be able to talk about. And in sales and marketing, it's all about what's your story. What can you share with others? How are you going to get people's attention? And the reason that this company will be so big is because we have 300 million customers using the product, 140 million households, women by 85% of the paper. It's very easy to go online and target these groups of people and get people to take a look. It's just at least take a look at what we're doing. And as a general rule, about a third of the people you talk to will sign up immediately. If you talk to 10 people, about a third of them just will, hey, that sounds great. I mean, it's awesome, really cool. Another third of the people might be skeptical, like, I don't know if it's not for me, or it's too early, or I don't like sales, or it's just not my thing. That's okay. And there's another third of the people that are totally open to doing this, depending upon how you present to them, which comes back to the people code. So with that, I would really like to encourage everybody to get off the line, go to your back office, and go to the people code. Click on it, go take a 10-minute assessment, find out what color you are. And we're going to talk a lot more about that in the coming weeks. Each week we'll feature a different color. But if you know your color, you're going to communicate better with people from now on. You're going to be better at work. You're going to be better as a spouse. You'll be better as parents, as friends, as your sisters, brothers. Whatever you do in your life, you'll do better if you understand your own communication cycle. And so, at Better Planet Paper, we believe in better living and better thinking, and that starts with our own personal communication. So all of our suppliers have to take the people code. All of our employees, all of our independent contractors, everybody's taking the people code. And the reason is because we all want everybody to communicate better. And we want to do our best and challenge ourselves to be our very best. And we want to request of you to think of yourself the same way. And if we want to have a better planet, then we have to start with ourselves. We certainly have to get along, right? So, with that, we appreciate you. Good night. God bless. And we look forward to working with you really soon. Don't miss out on Monday night's conference call, and certainly the newsletter that comes out Monday as well. God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
Conference recording has stopped. All conference hosts have hung up. This conference is over. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.